where we have vehicles that continue to move us around in the country, create jobs through the dealer networks that we have, and most importantly, even the after-sales market that plays a critical role in the maintenance of vehicles in South Africa. What have we been doing as South Africans when it comes to our cars? Well, tonight we are going to speak to the CEO of Motus. Motus, which is a key leader and driver in terms of being a JSE-listed company, largely helping to distribution with its distribution network of vehicles, and also has a bird's eye view of some of the industry trends that we see within vehicle sales. To give us some perspective, we join on the line by the Chief Financial Officer of Motus, Brenda Baijnath. Brenda, a real pleasure to have you with us, and thank you so much for making time this evening, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and thanks for hosting me, and good evening to your listeners as well.
Fantastic. First things first, perhaps let's analyze the numbers, because I know that's a key area of interest, before we do take a look at some of the industry trends and I guess the strategy that the business is implementing. But numbers do look solid. Headline earnings per share up by 19%, revenue up by 3%, operating profit up by 8%, and I alluded to your decrease in net finance costs earlier, which is down by 23%. Seems like you've been pulling together a tight ship, driving operational efficiencies, and overall it's reaping the right kind of results.
Yeah, absolutely, and a very good summary. So Motus indeed did deliver an improved performance compared to the prior year, and that was largely due to a much stronger performance in South Africa. We've seen improved business confidence, consumer confidence, and from a South African perspective, the country for 2025 calendar year actually recorded one of the highest new vehicle sales in almost a decade. So we really did get our fair share out of that. And as you can see, it's come together really nicely in the way that you've summarized it, with operating profit being up 8% and earnings per share up 19%. I think what's also important is that we were able to reduce our debt quite significantly through the strong cash flows that were generated. And it would seem that, South Africa is probably the place to be right now in terms of being able to sell vehicles and service our consumers adequately.
Yeah, maybe let's talk about that. I am aware that you're the largest automotive group and market leader in South Africa, with operations in other countries like the UK, Australia, parts of Asia and East Africa. But as you say, South Africa is the place to do business right now. What's working in our favor, and how are you looking to capture much of those headwinds to your benefit as a group?
Yeah, so what we've currently seen in South Africa is that new vehicle prices haven't really moved. So you haven't seen price increases come through probably in the last 12 to 18 months. And with the introduction of Chinese vehicles as well as some of the Indian product, suddenly vehicles have become a lot more affordable to the consumer. So what has been playing into that, similar to your previous speak on properties, is that with the lower interest rates, it's now become quite a favorable environment to be able to finance vehicles and get to an installment that, now fits in within the budget. So we've also seen the South African government being quite, conducive to making cars more affordable to consumers, either in the way of additional disposable income, now potentially lower tax brackets going forward. And, with the car prices being as low as it is, this is probably the best time. So we are seeing that quite a few customers are also starting to move away from public transport and now getting into entry-level vehicles. So within the importer, where we do import vehicles, we are seeing that the average price of vehicle that we are selling is about 350,000 Rand.
Really?
So you can see it is largely your entry-level car at this point in time.
Got you. Entry-level car at 350,000 Rand. I guess just looking at price inflation or vehicle price inflation, how has that shifted, I guess, since the pre-pandemic or post-pandemic? I'm not sure if you have those numbers at hand.
Yeah, so over the past 2 years, we really haven't seen significant price increases at all. So it's sort of stayed the same. So now we see consumers opting for new vehicles rather than used vehicles, as it is becoming quite competitive.
Got you. This is the space that you play in, because you have a bird's eye view of not only different brands, different consumer tastes, but even opportunities to partner with some of these brands. And I'm quite keen just to hear, what has the Motus experience been? You do take care of several Korean brands as well, Hyundai, if I'm not mistaken. Are we finding that some of these brands have been resilient despite the entrance of other Chinese brands, upwards of 15 to 24 of them that we have now?
Yeah, no, Chinese representation has increased quite substantially into South Africa. And we have been working very closely with the brands that we import. And just very quickly, that is Hyundai, Kia, Renault, Mitsubishi, and Renault. So we have been working with those, we call them OEMs, but the principals effectively, to really try and bring in new product into South Africa that could equally compete. That would have been in terms of price, in terms of quality, but also making sure that we were meeting the needs of our customers currently. So just as a data point, the Chinese vehicles now hold at about 15% of the current market share in South Africa. But what we have seen with both Kia as well as Hyundai is that they've held onto their market share and haven't really lost with the entry of the Chinese.
Mm-hmm. I understand that some of the Chinese brands or OEMs are also keen to work and partner with Motus versus having their own independent dealerships. Is this correct?
Yeah, so right now is that we have taken up a few of the Chinese dealerships into our stable, and we would include them as part of a multi-franchise, and couple them with the number of brands. We don't yet import any of the Chinese brands ourselves, but we rather elect to have them as being part of our stable going forward, just to be able to offer that choice to the consumer.
Mm-hmm. It's very competitive right now, and I guess as consumers, we are spoiled for choice in terms of brands, in terms of pricing, and even vehicle offering. But what we've also witnessed, typically over time, there's a sense of consolidation or brand loyalty or brand sentiment that typically gets created. How do you see that transitioning, especially given where we are now? So perhaps as we look forward to the year 2030, are there specific or significant changes that could take place?
I think we are going to see some consolidation, particularly of the Chinese brands. I mean, right now we have a number of brands, and it seems to be growing almost on a weekly basis. Yeah. So I think at some point there is going to be a saturation and a consolidation that will happen. But no doubt, the Chinese, I think, will still have a place within the South African environment. The product that they bring in is quite attractive to the consumer currently, and that does put some pressure onto some of the luxury brands that we are holding, and hence it becomes important that we look across the different brands to make sure that they can each be profitable on their own as well.
Fantastic. Brenda, you are in a very interesting space right now. I think we just might define this decade, the decade of the automakers and distributors, because, geesh, the shifts we've been seeing since the pandemic have been alarming. Thank you again for your time, and truly appreciate your perspective tonight, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. That is Chief Financial Officer of Motus, a critical player within the automotive space in South Africa, listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and distributor of OEMs or vehicle brands like Hyundai, Kia, and Renault. But not limited to that, there are other dealerships and dealership networks that they participate in across the country.